I'm Brittany Lewis with Forbes Breaking News. On Tuesday, Senator Patty Murray joined other Democrats in a press conference about the Right to Contraception Act, which would enshrine the right to birth control into federal law. The bill comes after the Supreme Court's ruling to overturn Roe v. Wade, which threatened the right to abortions. Senator Murray warned, quote, "Mark my words, Republicans will not stop at abortion. They are coming for birth control, too."
Well, thank you. And first, I want to thank my colleagues, Senator Markey, Duckworth, and Hirono, for introducing this legislation and for their partnership. As they have made clear, the Right to Contraception Act could not be more straightforward. Our bill is incredibly simple. It would protect every single American's fundamental right to birth control by enshrining that right into federal law. Nearly 60 years ago, in Griswold versus Connecticut, the Supreme Court affirmed Americans' right to privacy, and with it, their right to contraception. But that right, like so many of our fundamental rights, is now under threat from extreme Republican politicians. So our bill would simply codify Americans' right to birth control and protect this fundamental right from Republicans' nonstop attacks. It would prevent extreme politicians from interfering with your ability to get the birth control you need to plan a family on your own terms. Truth be told, it is downright a shame that our legislation and this press conference today is even necessary. We're talking about really basic and really fundamental right that was affirmed a half a century ago. Generations of Americans have counted on the right to contraception. For them, it is not political, and it shouldn't be political here in Congress either. But that's where Republicans are right now, because who would want to block legislation to protect such a basic right, a right that allows people to have control of their own future and start a family when they are ready to? Who would want to roll back a right to the American people overwhelmingly support? And I do mean overwhelmingly, because the vast majority of Democrats, the vast majority of Republicans, the vast majority of independents all agree politicians should have no place in determining whether or not you can access birth control. Unfortunately, though, it doesn't matter to Republicans how long a right has been affirmed or how much people support it, because they are now more than willing to reverse the clock. And we are living that painful reality when it comes to the right to abortion. Mark my words, Republicans will not stop at abortion. They are coming for birth control too. Just last month, as you heard, when overturning Roe v. Wade, Justice Thomas made clear in his concurring opinion that rights that generations of Americans have taken for granted are now on the chopping block, and that includes your right to marry who you love and to get the birth control you need. It is outrageous. And it's certainly not just Justice Thomas who's talking about this. In states across the country, extreme Republican lawmakers are talking about restricting access to birth control. Republicans in Idaho, Missouri, Louisiana, Arkansas, Michigan, and elsewhere are eyeing legislation that would outlaw Plan B and IUDs. And just last week, we all watched as 195 House Republicans voted against this bill. 195. Nearly the entire House Republican caucus does not want to protect your right to birth control. So let's be clear here. We have one of the most powerful judges in this country talking about overturning the right to contraception. We've got Republican state legislators working to restrict women's ability to get birth control of their choice. And we've got House Republicans showing their true colors right here in Congress. So this is not some far-off theoretical worry. This is real. And to anyone who might say, oh, this effort's a waste of time or that bill isn't needed, you are wrong. Republicans are coming for birth control and Democrats are fighting back. We will not sit quietly by as Republicans continue chipping away at our rights, as they make their intentions clear and then deflect and say we're overreacting. Enough of that. Enough of that. Americans have the right to use birth control. period. And Democrats are going to work to protect that right. So tomorrow, we're going to ask unanimous consent to pass the Right to Contraception Act on the Senate floor. And I really hope that our Republican colleagues get out of the way and let us protect that basic right instead of blocking progress yet again. Because this bill could not be more than common sense. It couldn't be more basic. Americans of all stripes and colors overwhelmingly support this right. And all Republicans have to do tomorrow is get out of the way. Tomorrow, Americans will be watching closely to see if they are willing to protect the freedom to use birth control, or if they block legislation to codify Americans' rights to birth control and keep chasing this extreme agenda to control women's bodies. Thank you. And with that,